Gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Keytime Sports. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Keytime Sports right here on YouTube, Key City Sports on Instagram, and the Key on millions.co. Here is my profile. Here is my media feed on millions.co, so you can go right on there right now and look up my latest shows that I've been doing on there. So now let's get to the games at hand. We got a 4-game slate this week. All of these games are ranked matchups. All of these teams are in the projected college football playoff rankings. The first game I am going to cover is the number 10 Notre Dame Fighting Irish versus the number 24 Pittsburgh Panthers. Now, Notre Dame, it's been a minute since I've covered Notre Dame. I covered Notre Dame in week 1 and week 2 of the college football season. But ever since then, they have been on a 7-game winning streak, and I believe that the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, they have to win out in order to make it to the college football playoffs. So, first off, here is their quarterback. They have C. Carr. Then they have Jeremiah Love, which is their top running back. Receiving corps for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, led by Julian Faison. The kicking for the Fighting Irish, here is the defense for the Fighting Irish. So, when we look at the Fighting Irish as a defense, solo tackles, they have 555 solo tackles as a defensive unit. Offensively, when we get to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, they average 38 points per game. Third down efficiency is 46%. Fourth down efficiency is 45%. Now, when we get to the Pittsburgh Panthers, now Pittsburgh, not too many people have covered them throughout the entirety of this season. But this is my first time covering them. But they do have a formidable bunch. But at the end of the day, they are average. They are an average team playing against a team in Notre Dame that we expect to win. We expect for Notre Dame to be dominant. But when it comes to these games, there's always some factors that we cannot predict. Always some factors. So Pittsburgh Panthers are led by M. Hinsell. Here is their top running back in Jay Turner. Their wide receiver core, led by K. Johnson. Here's their kicker for the Panthers, Pittsburgh Panthers. Here is the defense for the Pittsburgh Panthers. And defensively, they have 624 tackles as a defensive unit. Now here is the Pittsburgh Panthers offense. 39.7 points per game, almost 40. Third down efficiency is 36%. Fourth down efficiency is 70%. One of the best in college football. Now let me get to the storylines for this game. Surging number nine in the college football playoff rankings, Notre Dame will try to strengthen its CFB spot against the resilient number 23 in the college football playoff rankings, Pittsburgh Panthers. Ask what it means when number 23 Pittsburgh hosts number 9 Notre Dame on Saturday. Longtime Panthers coach did a little math and then offered a somewhat tongue-in-cheek response. I would gladly get beat 103 or 110 to 10 in the game. Narduzzi said they can put up 100 as long as we win in the next two after that. Casually saying he was okay if the Panthers would lose by a video game score. Narduzzi typically idiosyncratic way of talking some of the pressure off of his whole team whose season threatened to careen to carry out of control after back-to-back losses to end September. All Pitt has done in the interim is rip off five straight behind true freshman Mason Hantin's Heint scale, which is why, regardless of the outcome at Acrisure Stadium this weekend, with the Panthers 7-2, can earn a top spot in the ACC title game by topping Georgia Tech and number 16 Miami to end the regular season. Notre Dame 7-2 has no such wiggle room. A 7-game winning streak by the end by an average of nearly 4 touchdowns has put the Irish back in the college football playoff mix, though another misstep likely leaves them outside looking in when the 12-team field is released next month. It's why Coach Marcus Freeman bristled this week when he received a text from a friend who labeled the meeting with the Panthers as a trap game, considering the heater Pitt is on to hint scale and a defense creating havoc that has become Narduzzi's signature during his 11 seasons. Freeman does not see it that way. This is not a trap game, Freeman said. This is a challenge. This is a real challenge and a great challenge. It's also Notre Dame's final chance to impress the CFP committee. Irish finished with injury-riddled Syracuse and Stanford, a wobbling against a Pitt team eager to prove it's worthy of the buzz and it has generated over the last 6 weeks could be damaging. Love isn't all they need. Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love has seen his Heisman Trophy stock rise in recent weeks. Yet, as his Heisman campaign has gained traction, he's hardly the only back fueling one of the most imposing rushing attacks in the country. Backups Jadarian Price and Aeneas Williams are also thriving. Price has 95 carries for 598 yards and 9 TD runs, 1 TD catch, 2 kickoff returns for scores. Williams is coming off of the most productive college performance, 2 carrying 5 times for 72 yards, and his second scoring touchdown of the year against Navy. Mason's moxie. Pitt's surge into relevance has come into lockstep with Henschel supplanting Eli Holston in early October. All Henschel has done is top 300 yards in 4 of the 5 starts while throwing 12 touchdowns against 5 picks, while Henschel profile has risen dramatically in recent weeks. His teammates and coaches aren't worried about the attention going into his head. It wasn't that long ago that Henschel was just a high school kid in Northwest Ohio who didn't have a single offer from a Power 4 school until the Panthers reached out. I've never been around a true freshman that prepares like an NFL 10-year vet, offensive coordinator Cade Bell said. He prepares like he's playing over here for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he loves it. And he wants to get better and better and learn. One thing that I love about him is that a lot of teams, he does not make the same mistake twice. Carr is in command for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. In college football world dominated by veteran quarterbacks transferring from one school to the next, Saturday's matchup is a rarity, a game with 2 first-year starters. But C.J. Carr might be ahead of Henschel in the experience category. Carr has started all 9 games for Notre Dame this season after a slow start has been rounding into form. grandson of former Michigan coach Lloyd Carr, has topped 200-yard mark 7 times this season, has 19 TD passes and 4 interceptions, over none over the past 2 weeks. Keeping it in perspective, I'm going to go ahead and say this. Pittsburgh, they are an average team. But I like what Marcus Freeman is doing, keeping everything in perspective when it comes to this opponent that they face. Pitt approaching the CFP rankings at any point this season seem remote after blowing 4-quarter leads to West Virginia and Louisville to end September. The Panthers have rallied to check in at 23 in the CFP this week, and they're well aware it could be a mere cameo if they don't pull off a stunner against the Fighting Irish. While there is a fair amount of attention being paid, ESPN's popular College Game Day will broadcast from just outside Acrisure Stadium for just the second time in 20 years. The pain from last season's late collapse, in which Pitt started 7-0, dropping its final 6 games, remains fresh. I think last year we got too focused on the opponent, too focused on the moment, the game, the atmosphere, what's going on the outside of building. Panthers wide receiver Kenny Johnson said, in all reality, it's us. It's on us. It's on the field. It's our 11 versus their 11, and we have to go execute. And now, point spread for this game. Point spread for this game, it is pretty much, it's been the same. It started out at 11.5 for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I expect the Notre Dame Fighting Irish to win this game. Now it is a 12, and they are a 12.5 point favorite. Notre Dame, they cannot lose another game. If they lose another game, they will not make it to the college football playoff. And with Pittsburgh, we just don't know what Pittsburgh is going to do from week to week. We just don't know. And I'm going to show y'all their schedule. I'm going to show y'all the teams that they've won on their schedule. That they have won against on their schedule. You played Boston College. You played Florida State. You played Syracuse. Nobody is even paying attention to Syracuse. You played NC State, won versus them. You played Stanford 2 weeks ago. Nobody has been paying attention to those teams that you won against. And DeQuest State and Central Michigan, no. This is the gauntlet of the Panthers' schedule. Notre Dame tomorrow, Georgia Tech next week, and the following week, you got Miami. They only have a 3-game season left. So we are going to see what the Pittsburgh Panthers are made of, but I just see a team in Notre Dame that is just going to have their way with the Pittsburgh Panthers. The next game I am going to cover is the Oklahoma Sooners. Number 12 Oklahoma Sooners versus the number 4 Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, Oklahoma Sooners are led by John Mateer. Here is the Sooners' top running back at T. Blaylock. Receiving, here is their receivers for the Sooners. Here's their kicking for the Sooners. Here is the Sooners' defense. Defensively, 574 solo tackles as a defensive unit. Now let's get to that offense when it comes to the Oklahoma Sooners. Oklahoma Sooners have averaged 28.9 points per game. Third down efficiency is 41%. Fourth down efficiency is 58%. Now, let's get on over to the Alabama Crimson Tide. You already know how good Alabama Crimson Tide is. You got Ty Simpson, a Heisman Trophy front runner, Ty Simpson. You got Jam Miller, leading running back. You got Jeremy Bernard. Then you have Ryan Williams as your decoy. And you also have a defense, a kicker, excuse me. The kicker for Alabama, as far as field goal attempts, he's 11 of 16. So I'm not too confident in the kicker. Defensively, for the Alabama Crimson Tide, 473 solo tackles as a defensive unit. Team statistics, as far as the offense concerned, 32.8 points per game, third down efficiency 47%, fourth down efficiency 63%. All right, 63%. We get to the storylines of this matchup. Number 4, Alabama, which has won 8 in a row, has extra motivation against number 11, Oklahoma. Tuscaloosa, Alabama, number 4, Oklahoma, stopped short of calling Saturday's showdown against number 11, a revenge game. But the Crimson Tide admit they haven't forgot last year's outcome. The Sooners beat the Crimson Tide last year 24-3 in Norman, Oklahoma. It was a shocking result considering the Sooners had lost 4 of 5 and Alabama was on the verge of securing a spot in the college football playoff. That letdown surely will provide extra motivation for Alabama Crimson Tide at 8-1, 6-0 in Southeastern Conference play. Number 4, CFP in the rematch. There are new players that didn't experience that. Tide coach Keiwond Dowell said the ones that didn't certainly better remember and understand, more importantly, that you're facing a really good program, and that is obviously we went to their place and got beat up pretty good last year, and that's who's coming to town this week. A loss Saturday in Tuscaloosa wouldn't derail Alabama's playoff chances, but it could knock the Tide out of SEC title game contention in Atlanta. It's a must-win, however, for Oklahoma, 7-2, 3-2, number 11th in the CFP, and its playoff hopes. The Sooners are 2-2 over the last 4 games, with losses coming to Texas, Mississippi, and wins versus South Carolina and Tennessee. We all know Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer said we have a chance to determine our own destiny and keep it right in front of us. So that's our goal. Oklahoma's defense is the class of the SEC this season. The leading in the conference in yards and points allowed. It will need to have a memorable performance against Alabama, which has won 8 in a row and has also the longest winning streak in football subdivision at 17 games. The Tide's average margin of victory during their home stretch is 40-11 in their last 51 games. They've got a really good roster. Oklahoma coach Brett Venables said they're playing really well on both sides of the ball. Their defense leads the SEC in turnovers calls and turnover margin. Offensively, they have been just incredibly efficient. One thing to watch from each QB: John Mateer, Ty Simpson. Mateer averaged 303.8 yards per game, passing with 6 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in the 4 games before having thumb surgery. In 4 games since, he's averaged 183.5 yards passing with 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He bounced back against Tennessee, rushing for 80 yards and a score. Finding rhythm against Alabama, which leads the SEC with 16 takeaways, should be key. That's me right there. It should be key. Simpson, a Heisman frontrunner, will have a similarly hard time against Oklahoma. The question for him and Alabama is whether they can create explosive plays to mitigate a struggling run game. Last week against LSU, Simpson connected 4 passes that gained 30 yards or more, but he has also left several big plays on the field that could have broken the game open. Low hanging fruit. There is complete the big open ones. Alabama's offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb said, I think there's a little bit of carryover there from previous weeks. Just getting the ball out earlier and on time and making sure that we give our guys a chance at the football down the field. Stats to watch. I'm going to say this and then I'm going to give my point spread and the prediction for this game. Stat to watch. Turnover margin has been Alabama's catalyst all season. The Tide ranked 4th nationally at +10 and only have 6 turnovers in 9 games as an offense all season. Under the other side, Oklahoma ranks 110th nationally at -5 in the turnover margin. The Sooners have 7 takeaways and only 12 turnovers as the offense. The red zone factor will be key. The game features 2 of the better red zone offenses in the nation. Oklahoma, the #1 red zone offense in the country, scoring on all 28 trips inside the 20-yard line this season. Alabama, meanwhile, ranked 16th. Where teams differ is defensively, where Alabama ranks 8th in red zone defense, and Oklahoma ranks 66 in red zone defense. That ought to tell y'all everything that y'all need to know. You know that can't nobody go into Alabama, can't nobody go into Tuscaloosa and come out of there with a win. I'm going to tell y'all the point spread for this game. It was 7.5 opening up, and now it has dwindled down to 5.5. I guess Las Vegas is thinking that this is going to be a close game, but I got Alabama in this game. No matter what the score is going to be, Alabama is going to win this game because in November and December, you just don't beat Alabama at home in Tuscaloosa. I know there's a lot of Alabama fans that watch me. Hey, and I already know that there's a huge Alabama fan. Kangaroo Black, shout out to you. I got your Alabama Crimson Tide in this game. Oklahoma Sooners don't have no chance. We don't know what we're going to see from John Mateer. We don't know what we're going to see from the Sooners running backs. We don't know what we're going to see from the tight ends, wide receivers, and the running backs. We don't know what we're going to see from them. So Alabama is going to win this game outright. I wouldn't say that it's a foregone conclusion, but we all know how the Tide rolls when it comes to November and December. Roll Tide. The Tide is going to win this game. And let me get to the next game that is on this list. The next game, not too many people are going to be focused on this game, but I am going to be focused on this game. You got the number 20 Iowa Hawkeyes versus number 19 USC Trojans. Now here is the quarterback for the Iowa Hawkeyes, M. Gronowski. Then you have your leading running back, leading wide receiver, leading kicker, and you have your defense. The defense for the Iowa Hawkeyes, 516 solo tackles as a defense. Now, total points per game for Iowa, 29.6 points per game. Third down efficiency, 44% on third down. Fourth down efficiency, 71%. Now, when we get to the USC Trojans, I don't even know why we have to talk about the Trojans defense, because the Trojans defense, they cannot stop a flood when it comes to trying to neutralize an opponent's offense. I'm gonna tell y'all something about the USC Trojans. Jordan Mailata, he is a good quarterback. He has over 2,000 yards passing already this season. Here is their running back for the USC Trojans, Miller, K. Miller. He's done pretty good. Receiving, M. Lemon. He is gonna have 1,000 yards in this game if they expect to win. Over he is gonna have to have over 100 yards in this game. But as far as total for the season, if he gets 100 yards, he'll be over 1,000 yards for the season. Defensively, for the USC Trojans, see, this is where I'm a little bit on the fence here when it comes to the USC Trojans defense. 527 solo tackles as a defense. Now, when we get to the USC Trojans offense, 39.6 points per game. Third down efficiency, 51%. Fourth down efficiency, 70%. Now, let me get to the storylines for this game. Number 20 in the college football playoff rankings. Number 20 USC and Iowa meet in Big Ten play. Key stats: USC Trojans offense overall 503.2 yards per game, second in FBS college football. Passing 303 yards per game, 10th in college football currently. Rushing 200.2 yards, 22nd in college football currently. Scoring 39.6 points per game, 7th in college football currently. USC Trojans defense. Now, see, this is where I say the defense for the USC Trojans is bad. Overall, 346.8 yards per game, 48th in FBS. Passing 205.1 yards per game, 51st in college football currently. Rushing 141.7 yards per game, 60th in college football currently. Rushing 141.7 yards per game, 60th, Scoring 21.8 points per game, 43rd in college football currently. Iowa's offense overall 309.1 yards per game, 122nd in FBS. Passing 133 yards per game, 133.2 yards per game, 133rd in college football currently. Rushing 175.9 yards per game, 48th in college football currently. Scoring 29.6 points per game, 60th in college football currently. Iowa's defense overall 250.2 yards per game, 4th in FBS. Passing 146.7 yards per game, 5th in college football currently. Rushing 103.6 yards per game, 17th in college football currently. Scoring 13.7 points per game, 5th in college football currently. USC ranks 5th in FBS on third down percentage, converting 51.9% of the time. USC ranks 67th in FBS, averaging 54.2 penalty yards per game compared to Iowa's first ranked 20.2 per game. Both teams have strong red zone offenses. USC is 11th in FBS, scoring on 93.3% of their red zone trips. Iowa red zone offense ranks 20th at 91.9%. Team leaders for USC Trojans: Jaden Mailata, 2,614 yards, 17 TDs, 6 interceptions, 66.2% completion percentage. Rushing: King Miller, 636 yards on 80 carries, 5 TDs. Receiving, Mikael Lemon, 937 yards on 61 catches, 7 TDs. Iowa, passing, Mark Gronowski, 1,084 yards, 5 TDs, 4 interceptions, 63.9 completion percentage. Rushing, Kamari Moulton, 522 yards on 105 carries, 2 TDs. Receiving, Sam Phillips, 216 yards on 13 carries, 0 TDs. Last game for both teams, USC Trojans won 38-17 over Northwestern. Last Friday, Maiava led USC with 299 yards on 24-33 passing, 72.7% for 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Iowa fell to Oregon 18-16 Saturday. Gronowski led with 138 yards on 10 of 18 passing, 55.6%, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Now, let's see this point spread for this game. The USC Trojans are at home. The Iowa Hawkeyes offense is pretty much putrid. They are stagnant at times. I got the USC Trojans winning this game. No matter what, because Iowa, obviously, they still have that offense from a few years ago where they struggle to score touchdowns efficiently. So I got the USC Trojans winning. The last game I'm going to cover, and this is the big night game. Number 11 Texas Longhorns versus the number 5 Georgia Bulldogs, led by Arch Manning. I got to bring the football in for this one because this is going to be one of the biggest games in college football all season. We all know that the Texas Longhorns are led by Arch Manning, who has over 2,000 yards passing. Contravion Wisner, top running back for the Texas Longhorns. Receiving, Ray Wingo, top wide receiver for the Texas Longhorns. Defensively, the kicker has had trouble here and there. He is 4 of 18 on his kicks throughout this season for 77.8%. Defensively for the Texas Longhorns, they have 625 solo tackles as a defensive unit. Now, offensively, 29.6 points per game. Third down efficiency is 40%. Third down efficiency. Fourth down efficiency is 41%. So now we know what the Texas Longhorns are on offense. Let's see what we know what they are on defense. Now let's see what the Georgia Bulldogs have. Gunnar Stockton, quarterback. Nate Frazier, top running back. Then you have Zachariah Branch, your top wide receiver for the Georgia Bulldogs. You have Georgia Bulldog kicker, 12 of 13. He's made his field goals this season. Defensively for the Georgia Bulldogs, as far as defensively, solo tackles, 564 solo tackles as a defense. Now, Georgia's offense, 33.4 points per game. Third down efficiency is 48%. Fourth down efficiency is 72%. Now let's shift on over to these storylines. Former Georgia recruit Arch Manning to lead number 10 Texas against number 5 Bulldogs in SEC showdown. Georgia fans finally will have their chance to see Arch Manning play at Sanford Stadium. He won't be wearing Georgia's red and black though. Georgia, number 5 Georgia, 8-1, 6-1 in Southeastern Conference play, number 5 in college football playoff, will face Manning and number 10 Texas, 7-2 4-1, number 10 in college football playoff on Saturday night. Each team will look to protect its hopes of making a repeat trip to the SEC championship game. Gunnar Stockton replaced the injured Carson Beck and led the Bulldogs to a 22-19 overtime win over Texas in last year's SEC championship game in Atlanta. Beck transferred to Miami, and Stockton has kept the starting job this season, using his dual threat talents to win over fans who once dreamed Manning would make Athens his home. Manning acknowledged this week he came close to signing with Georgia. They're a good team. I was considering them until the end, Manning said Monday. Manning, the preseason Heisman Trophy favorite, and Longhorns, who were number one at the top of the preseason in the AP Top 25, have a 4-game winning streak after a 3-2 start. Manning claimed his first SEC Offensive Player of the Week honor after Texas won over Vanderbilt. He has passed for over 600 yards, 674 yards with 6 touchdowns and 1 interception over the past 2 games. It's kind of production Georgia coach Kirby Smart anticipated when he recruited Manning. The latest in the line of Manning football players includes his father Cooper, grandfather Archie, and uncles Peyton and Eli. It really wasn't about the celebrity nature, Smart said Monday, adding the take was the motivation to recruit Manning. I have a good relationship with their family, Smart said. I've known his dad for a while, his uncle for a long time, and his grandfather. I've gotten a wonderful family. They've got a wonderful family. But it has nothing to do with his recruitment. His recruitment was based on his athletic. He's fast, he's tall, he's intelligent, he's got composure, he's got an arm. He can do it all. He can run the ball, he can throw the ball, he can in this day and age, you got to have a quarterback that can do both, run and throw. Smart added Manning has great composure and is not really affected by many things, even the way he's managed the hype and expectations of what he's supposed to do this year. Return visit. That won't be Manning's first visit to Sanford Stadium. He said he attended a Georgia home game against South Carolina when he was a recruit. It's a big-time atmosphere, Manning said. I'm excited. Thanks to that visit, Manning says he knows what to expect on Saturday night. It's my first time preparing for barking, he said. It should be fun. Ancient history. Georgia won 2 games last season versus Texas. In addition to SEC championship game victory, the Bulldogs beat then number 1 Texas 13-15 in Austin. Players from each team agreed last year's game will have no effect on Saturday night's contest. It'll have no carryover, Georgia safety KJ Bolden said. Those are 2 different teams and a lot of different players on those teams. You know it's going to be a great game. SEC hopes. Texas and Georgia do not control their hopes of returning to the SEC title game. Number 3, Texas A&M, and number 4, Alabama have no SEC losses. The Bulldogs and the Longhorns are playing to remain in position to enter a possible tiebreaker scenario if either Alabama or Texas A&M lose. College football hopes. Georgia and Texas will be playing to protect their playoff hopes. The Bulldogs are motivated to play for a first-round bye. With 2 losses, the Longhorns may have a greater sense of urgency. Texas defensive end Ethan Burke says that that's nothing new. I think every week we know what we've got to do, Burke said. We know how much has been on the line the last 5 games. So every game has been huge and is critical to where we want to be. Texas pass rush. The Longhorns have been on a tear getting to the quarterback. Texas ranks number one nationally in sacks per game at 3.78 and has an overall 34 overall. The leaders are edge rushers Colin Simmons and Burke Simmons has 8 sacks. He draws a lot of attention and it's a benefit for the whole front, Burke said of Simmons quarterbacks. The quarterbacks have to keep him in their vision. Okay, this is the finality of the show. This is going to be the prediction of all predictions for this game. Texas Longhorns, Georgia Bulldogs opened up. The point spread opened up at 6.5. It remains at 6.5. And I believe the Georgia Bulldogs will beat the Texas Longhorns. I do think that. Now, I'm going to go back down a list of who I have in this 4-game slate that I am going to cover. So, at the top of the show, Notre Dame versus Pittsburgh. I got Notre Dame in that. The next game, Oklahoma versus Alabama. I got the Alabama Crimson Tide, Roll Tide, Roll. The next game, Iowa versus USC. I got the Trojans, Trojan Mans. And for the last game, Texas Longhorns versus the Georgia Bulldogs. I got the Mean Machine in the red and black. So the Georgia Bulldogs are going to win this game. And with that, those are my predictions for week 12 of the college football season. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Keytime Sports right here on YouTube. Key City Sports on Instagram. And the Key on Millions.co. Here is my media feed on Millions. And here is my profile, The Key. And remember, everybody, one last thing. The Key is always on time.